I didn't know it yet, but the day Nicholas King first saw me, my life quietly shifted into a story I never asked for. While I was speed walking across campus, juggling textbooks and deadlines, somewhere downtown Chicago, a man I had never met was sitting in a massive black leather chair, looking like a tired king bored of his own empire. Nicholas King. The Mafia heir people warned each other about in whispers, never aloud. He sat with his legs spread, shoulders loose, and a line of guards behind him, silent shadows carved from steel. And standing in front of him were 15 women. Different races. Different heights. Different countries. All dressed in the kind of outfits meant to be chosen. Their perfumes mixed into one strong cloud of hopeful desperation. Nicholas didn't even look up at them at first. He was scrolling lazily through files on his iPad, like none of us mattered. One woman cleared her throat. Another pushed her chest up. Another forced a seductive smile. He finally lifted his eyes. 1 second. Then he dropped them again. No. Just that. Final. Some of the women blinked in humiliation. One gasped. None dared to question him. Then came footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Full of authority. Richard King, his father, the retired Mafia ruler, a legend with silver hair and razor-sharp eyes, entered the room. You're rejecting them again? Richard's voice carried disappointment that felt older than time. It's been a week, Nicholas. A week. The heir of the King syndicate without a wife? It's embarrassing. Nicholas leaned back, exhaling like he was exhausted by everyone else's expectations. They all look the same. His tone was dry, bored, irritated. They look fragile, like they would break the first night. I don't want someone who would scream and run from my bed. Richard scoffed. And that is exactly why your marriages failed. I don't know where you got this appetite. I certainly never had it. Nicholas rolled his eyes. Good for you, Dad. He scrolled again, switching to a live feed from one of the universities he owned. A thing he did when bored. Students hurried to class, laughed, flirted, lived normal lives he would never have. And then he froze. Camera 7B. Engineering building. A girl walked past the frame. Dark-skinned. Beautiful. Slim waist. Cornrows neat. Face bare, confident, focused. Not trying to get attention. Not trying to impress anyone. Different. Refreshing. Dangerously his type. Something in him stilled. Zoom in, he said quietly. A guard obeyed. My face filled the screen. Nicholas inhaled, slowly, deeply, like he had just spotted something worth claiming. Find out who she is. He didn't blink. Yow. The 15 women watched in confusion as he flicked his hand. Take them away. I'm done here. Their heels clacked across the marble floor, echoing humiliation. 5 minutes later, a thin file landed on his desk. Sir, the guard said, her name is Zoe Cole. 23. Born and raised in the U.S. full scholarship student. Top of her department. Clean record. Nicholas nodded slowly, eyes narrowing. There's one more thing, the guard added carefully. Speak. Her father, Daniel Cole, is on your blacklist. One of the biggest debtors to the King syndicate. Silence. Then Nicholas smiled. Not kindly. Not warmly. But with the quiet hunger of a man who had finally found something he wanted. And I had no idea my life was about to collide with his. I wasn't supposed to open the door that night. Not with the rain pounding against our windows like grief. Not with my textbooks still spread open on the dining table. Spanish grammar on one side, unpaid bills on the other. I was a final-year student at Westbridge University. And a part-time Spanish language translator for a shipping company. The only reason the lights in our small Chicago apartment were even on was because I worked 2 shifts a day. I was the breadwinner, the protector, the backbone of our home. But even I wasn't ready for the kind of knock that came to our door. It didn't sound normal. Not polite. Not impatient. It was slow. Heavy. Measured. The kind of knock that warns you your life is about to change. And not for the better. I froze behind the doorway as my father opened it with trembling fingers. 2 men in black suits filled our entrance. Expressionless, rain dripping from their coats. Eyes cold enough to steal the warmth out of any room. The taller one spoke first. His voice had the calmness of a man who delivered this exact message. Too many times to care. Mr. Cole. Your debt is overdue. This is your final warning. My father's breath broke. Please. I just need more time. The man shoved a black envelope into his chest. Heart. Time has run out. My pulse hammered. Cold fear crawled up my spine like ice water. The second man stepped forward. 7 days, he said with a faint smirk. After that, the syndicate takes your home. Something inside me snapped. I stepped forward before fear could stop me. You can't just take our house because of a late payment. Both men turned their eyes toward me at the same time. Their gazes slid across my face, down my clothes, pressing me, not as a person, but as an asset. The taller man's smirk widened. Read the contract your father signed, he said, mockery dripping from every word. You'll find everything is allowed. Then they walked away, leaving rain and dread behind them. I slammed the door shut, breath shaking in my chest. Dad, what contract is this? He looked like a ghost. Hands shaking, voice thin. I didn't read the details. I trusted the broker. I thought it was just a loan. I ripped the envelope open with trembling fingers. A bold silver crest stamped the top. King Syndicate. My stomach dropped. Dad, I whispered, this isn't a normal loan shark. This is the American Mafia. He slid to the floor, sobbing. They'll take everything, Zoe, everything we have left. I stared at the contract. The impossible interest. The threats hidden in polite legal language. The consequences that felt like death sentences. Something hardened inside me. A decision. A courage I didn't know I had. I'm going to them, I said. My father jerked upright. You can't. They're dangerous. So is losing you. I grabbed my bag with trembling fingers and stepped into the storm that would change everything. The Syndicate building. The building towered over downtown Chicago. Glass, steel, marble, and a darkness that whispered trouble. It didn't look like a loan office. It looked like a trap. I swallowed hard and stepped inside. The receptionist, expressionless and perfectly manicured, didn't even glance up. I'm here about a debt, I said. I need a renegotiation. She typed my name into her computer, then paused, looking me up and down. The same cold, evaluating stare the men at my door had given me. You're lucky, she said. Someone authorized a one-time extension. You just need to sign the renewal form. Renewal. Extension. Hope flickered in my chest. She handed me a thick stack of papers and pointed to a glass-walled office. Sign only the flagged pages. Leave the rest. It's standard. I sat down, flipping through page after page of dense legal text I barely understood. My father's desperate face flashed through my mind. His tears. His fear. Please, Zoe, save our home, I whispered to myself. My hand trembled as I signed the flagged lines. Page after page. No reading. No questions. Just desperation. Just duty. Just love. When I finished, the receptionist collected the papers with a tight, polite smile. A smile that didn't reach her eyes. Your debt has been settled, she said. I exhaled, relief stinging my eyes. Thank you, I murmured. But as I pushed open the lobby doors, I didn't see her lift her phone. I didn't hear her whisper. She signed it. Prepare the marriage file. I didn't sleep that night. All I could do was sit by my window, clutching the receipt of the extension plan I'd signed. It's done. The house is safe. Dad is safe. It's done, I kept whispering to myself. Morning came with a knock I wasn't prepared for. Not polite. Not tentative. It rattled the doorframe, making my heart leap. Dad rushed ahead of me, panicking, hands shaking. When he opened the door, 3 black SUVs were parked on the street. Men in identical suits stood at attention. And at the center of them, he stepped out. Dangerous in a way that made the air feel heavier. I had never seen anyone who looked both angelic and lethal at once. His presence was a blade wrapped in silk. Black hair slicked back perfectly. Hands in his pockets. Eyes cold enough to freeze fire. He walked toward our apartment with a slow, commanding confidence. Not like someone arriving, but like someone returning to what already belonged to him. I swallowed hard. Dad, who is that? I whispered. He said the name like it was a curse. Nicholas King. My blood ran cold. The rumored underboss. The man everyone feared more than the police. The reason even debt collectors bowed. Nicholas reached the porch. His gaze landed directly on me. as if I were the only person in the world. He didn't greet my father. He didn't glance around. He didn't even blink. Miss Zoe Cole? His voice was low, smooth, deliberate. I nodded slowly. Yes. Damn. You are one striking woman in person. And you sound like a pervert, I shot back instinctively. He smirked, tilting a black folder in his hand. You'd find out on my bed pretty soon, he said. I ignored it. I was used to men talking like that. This wasn't new. He took one step closer. Too close. Close enough for me to see the faint scar along his jaw, and the darkness lurking in his eyes. Extension plan? He repeated softly. I forced a small, shaky smile. Yes. His lips curved into the faintest hint of amusement. Not warmth. Not kindness. Just amusement. Miss Cole, he murmured, you might want to read the title of the contract you signed. My fingers reached for the paper, but he placed a hand over it, stopping me. His eyes locked onto mine. Pulled. Moving. Certain. Congratulations, he said. A heartbeat froze in my chest. You're now my fiancé. I stumbled back as if slapped. Oh, there must be a mistake. I signed a loan extension. Nicholas tilted his head, expression unshaken. You signed the King Syndicate marriage bond. Page 6. Your signature confirms consent. I didn't see that. I didn't. That, he said with icy calm, is not my concern. My father collapsed onto the nearest chair. Zoe, what have you done? Why did I make the same mistake I warned him about? Never sign anything without reading it thoroughly. Nicholas closed the folder with a soft click, like a prison door locking. I'll send a car for you tomorrow, he said. We have a wedding to prepare for. My throat closed. There's no wedding. I didn't agree to this. He leaned in slightly, voice dropping to a murmur that slid down my spine like a cold blade. You signed, Miss Cole. His eyes burned into mine. And in my world, signatures are everything. He stepped back, snapped his fingers, and his men opened the car doors in unison. Before leaving, he added one last thing. Soft, terrifying. Pack lightly. Then he walked away, leaving me breathless, shaking, broken. My world didn't collapse. It detonated. I don't remember falling asleep. Maybe I didn't sleep at all. I woke up to voices outside. Low murmurs, footsteps on gravel, the quiet hum of engines idling. My stomach dropped. I rushed to the window. 3 black SUVs. But this time, they weren't knocking and leaving. They were already positioned. Waiting. Like a convoy preparing to transport something valuable. Or someone. Nicholas Moretti's men stood beside the cars in perfect formation. Hands behind their backs, heads bowed, staring straight ahead. Not at the house. At nothing. Like royal guards. Or worse. Like men waiting for property to be delivered. My breath caught. No. No. This can't be happening. I ran to the living room. My parents were already there, pale, shaking. Dad held the contract in his hands like it was radioactive. Zoe, he whispered, voice cracking. We called their office. My chest tightened painfully. And he shook his head, tears already building. They said the contract can't be undone. Not renegotiated, not repaid, not challenged in court. I felt the floor shift beneath my feet. But it was a mistake. I cried. I thought it was a loan extension. I didn't agree to marry anyone. Mom grabbed my hands, sobbing. Baby, please just breathe. Breathe. I pulled away. They tricked me, Mom. Dad cut in, voice breaking. You don't understand how powerful the Moretti Syndicate is. We tried. We begged. And they told me, if you refuse. He swallowed the rest. Dad, I whispered, throat tight, if I refuse, what happens? Mom answered, wiping her face with shaking hands. They said we all pay for it, Zoe. Everything we own. The store. The house, your dad's treatment. Everything goes. I staggered back, gripping the doorframe. I didn't agree to marry a Mafia underboss. I didn't sign up to belong to anyone. The 3 soft taps on the door. Not loud. Not violent. Soft. Which somehow made it even more terrifying. Mom gasped. Dad froze. I did too. One of the men from yesterday spoke through the door. Voice calm. Respectful. Deadly. Miss Carter, he said, we're here to escort you. Underboss Moretti says you may take your time. His tone was soft. Too soft. We will wait. I felt my heart crack. They're acting like I already belong to him, I whispered. And then, something I will never forget. My father dropped to his knees. Zoe, he begged. Please, don't fight them. If anything happens to you, or to us, we won't survive it. Mom knelt beside him crying. Please Zoe, go. Just go and come back alive. And in that horrifying moment, I finally understood. They weren't escorting me. They weren't picking me up. They were collecting me. Like a possession Luca Moretti already owned. The hotel room. I sat on the edge of the hotel bed, staring at the city lights through the floor-to-ceiling window. I had accepted it. My fate. The contract. The syndicate. The men waiting outside our apartment. None of it could be changed. Tomorrow the wedding would happen. My hands rested in my lap, trembling slightly. 1,000 fears swirled in my mind, but I shoved them down. I had to be strong. For my family. For myself. I wandered the empty halls of the suite, trying to calm my racing thoughts. The hotel was too quiet. Still. Except for the faint hum of elevators and distant footsteps of staff. Then I heard them. 2 of Nicholas Moretti's men, leaning casually against the hallway wall, whispering. His ex-wives didn't last long. I froze mid-step. He demands too much, another murmured. Too intense. No woman can survive him. My pulse spiked. My hands shook. Virgin. Inexperienced. Trapped. Not that I was going to give him my body, or my heart. Then I felt it. Eyes on me. Oh. He leaned in the shadows of a doorway, arms crossed, silent. Not angry. Not amused. Just watching. He noticed the tremor in my hands, the widening of my eyes, the small step I took backward. And instead of speaking he said nothing. Silence screamed louder than any words. My throat tightened. My mind raced. Does he know what I overheard? Does he see my fear? Does he see how small, fragile, helpless I feel? The men didn't move. The hotel seemed to hold its breath. Even the air felt heavier. Finally Luca stepped back, fading into shadow. Not a word. But the message was clear. He knows. And he's watching. I sank back onto the bed, staring at the ceiling. The rumors weren't exaggeration. The man I was to marry was dangerous. And tomorrow, I would be his. The wedding ballroom. The ballroom glittered like a palace built on lies. Chandeliers dripped gold. Violins hummed softly. Hundreds of eyes hid behind elegant masks. But none of it sparkled for me. The air felt too cold. Too heavy. Like I was walking into a tomb carved just for me. My heart pounded as I stepped down the aisle. Every step felt like betrayal. Every whisper sliced me like a blade. And at the end of the long, glittering corridor, he stood. Nicholas Moretti. The man who owned fear in this city. Sculpted. Dangerous. In a black suit that fit him like armor. His eyes lifted the moment he saw me. Unblinking. Hungry. Still as a predator watching prey that fascinated him. I swallowed hard. My legs nearly froze. No smile. No warmth. No welcome. Just claiming. Just him. The ceremony. The officiant spoke. Words blurred. Rings slid onto our fingers. Cold as shackles. My hands trembled so badly I almost dropped Nicholas' ring. He didn't help. Didn't touch me. Only watched, memorizing my fear. Then the officiant's voice rang clearly. And now, you may kiss the bride. My stomach dropped. My breath caught. Before I could pull away, Nicholas stepped forward. Slow, controlled, inevitable. His hand slid around my waist. Firm. Warm. Don't you dare kiss me, I whispered sharply, eyes wide. He lowered his lashes. Heard me. Ignored me. His lips pressed to mine. Slow, deliberate, almost soft. I stiffened. Fingers curled into fists. He paused just a second. Breaths brushing. My eyes shot up to his, shock and betrayal written across my face. Instead of stepping back, he kissed me again. Then again. Slow. Devastating. Deep enough to pull a sound from my throat. My mind screamed to stop. My body didn't listen. Heat slid through my chest. My lips parted. I kissed him back without thinking, without air. Pulled in by a stranger whose touch felt like gravity. My knees went weak. Pulse thundered. Then, I pushed him. Hard. Gasping. Guilt flooding my face. I had just kissed the man I swore I hated. Shame burned. Heart racing. Nicholas watched calmly, breathing through parted lips like my reaction amused him, or awakened something darker inside him. The guests applauded politely. They didn't know anything. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He just looked at me. Silent. Dangerous. Unreadable. I felt my world tilt. Because in that moment, lips tingling, breath shaking, I understood something terrifying. I wasn't ready for him. Not his intensity. Not his hunger. Not the way he kissed me like I already belonged to him. And the worst part? Somewhere deep inside, a part of me knew I would kiss him again. Even if it ruined me. I stepped into the elevator, heart hammering so hard I thought it might shatter my chest. When the doors opened, I froze. Marble floors reflected my trembling feet. Walls were adorned with dark, imposing art that seemed to watch my every move. The skyline of New York stretched endlessly beyond the windows. Bright, glittering, untouchable. And at the center of it all he stood. Nicholas Moretti. Hands clasped behind his back, eyes scanning the city like he owned every building, every street, every person below. "Welcome to your new home," he said, voice low, controlled. Calm but impossible to ignore. I opened my mouth but no words came. He didn't offer a smile. Didn't move toward me. Didn't acknowledge me like a human. Just, rules. You will not enter my office without permission. No loud movements at night. Maintain your distance in common areas. I blinked. That's it. He didn't answer with words. Instead his gaze swept over me, calculating, measuring. Pulled. Intense. I realized then, this was how the Moretti syndicate dealt with people. Not with threats shouted, but with silence, control, and presence. I swallowed hard. The rumors. The warnings. They weren't exaggeration. This man was more dangerous than anyone had ever said. That night I wandered the halls, restless. The mansion was silent, too quiet. And then he appeared, blocking the hallway. I froze. Not angry. Not threatening. Just, intense. I'm not scared of you, I whispered almost audibly. Nicholas blinked. Stepped back slightly, eyes dark but troubled. I didn't mean to startle you, he murmured. My legs wobbled. If I disobeyed, if I made a wrong move, my family might pay. Could this untouchable man be more than a predator? Something in him hinted at restraint, at hidden layers beneath the fearsome legend. I wanted answers I didn't have. I wanted distance I couldn't reach. He simply stood there watching. Silent. Moving. Magnetic. And I realized with a shiver. The unknown, the restraint, the mystery, it was irresistible. The morning after. Sunlight filtered weakly through the blinds, slicing the penthouse into stripes of light and shadow. I curled on the sofa, heart still racing, mind replaying every movement, every word, every glance. 3 days had passed since I moved in. 3 days of rules, quiet observation, and being watched by the man who had terrified an entire city, and now claimed me in a way that made my chest ache with fear and curiosity. Then an envelope appeared on the coffee table. No name. No return address. Just waiting. My hands trembled as I picked it up. Inside, a single page scrawled in hurried handwriting. Run. You cannot survive him. I gasped, breath catching, heartbeat hammering like a war drum. What if it's true? I whispered. I clutched the envelope, backing toward the window. Hi besties, if you are enjoying this story, kindly subscribe to this new channel. Outside, New York sparkled, oblivious. Inside, my world felt like it was collapsing under the weight of a dark, untouchable power. And then he was there. Nicholas. As if shadows themselves had delivered him to me. His eyes unreadable. Silent. Distant. Someone sent you a message? His voice was low, deliberate, calm. I didn't answer. I moved farther from him, trembling, trying to reclaim air and space I didn't have. But the universe had other plans. My heel caught the edge of the thick carpet. I stumbled, almost falling. Before I could hit the ground, a strong hand steadied me at the waist. Firm, controlled, unwavering. Nicholas. He didn't ask if I was okay. Didn't speak. His body heat pressed against mine, grounding me and yet making my pulse spike in ways I didn't understand. I whispered, Thank you. But the words barely left my mouth. He wasn't looking at me. His gaze was assessing, measuring, pulling me into a gravity I couldn't resist. I realized then, the rumors weren't exaggeration. The man was dangerous, magnetic, dominating even in silence. And for the first time I felt it, not fear alone. Something darker, a thrill, a storm, a pull I could neither fight nor name. I straightened, trying to regain composure. But the storm he brought was already inside me. And I knew with a chill of understanding that the unknown he embodied would change me forever. For hours I stood by the doorway watching him. Nicholas Moretti, the man who could destroy or protect me with equal ease. The man who was both predator and prisoner of his own rules. And I realized, I was already tangled in his world. Whether I ran or stayed, there was no going back. The warning in the envelope lingered in my chest. I might not survive him. And yet, a dark curiosity twisted inside me. A need to understand the man behind the legend. The boardroom at Moretti Enterprises reeked of polished wood, leather, and raw power. Nicholas sat at the head of the long table, flanked by investors in crisp suits, screens flashing numbers that would make anyone dizzy. Projected profit $3.8 billion, one of them said. We need your signature to finalize. He didn't answer. His gaze was fixed somewhere far away. Somewhere I had invaded, though he didn't know it. I remembered that whisper. My situation, I had admitted softly, carefully, back at the penthouse. He'd frozen then, jaw tightening, eyes narrowing. Not because of greed, not because of control, but something unexpected. A man with his power shouldn't care about a single girl's hesitation. Yet he did. His fingers gripped the edge of the table as if trying to anchor himself. An investor's voice broke the trance. Nicholas, are you paying attention? This is a billion-dollar deal. He snapped back to reality, calm as ever. My apologies, he said, voice low, controlled. Let's continue. But I knew he hadn't left me behind in his thoughts, not for a second. Hours later he returned to the penthouse. The guards stiffened automatically as they always did. But tonight something was different. Sitting in the living room, legs crossed, eyes gleaming with a knowing smirk, was his ex-girlfriend Victoria Lane. The woman who had left him first. The one he could never fully resist. Nicholas, she said softly. He stiffened. Eyes narrowed. No smile. No greeting. Just cold control. What are you doing here? Victoria didn't wait for an answer. She moved through the mansion like she owned it. Silky hair, red lips, the kind of confidence that made everyone else invisible. His guards didn't move. Even the air seemed to hold its breath. I tried to stay away, she whispered, stepping closer. I tried to love someone else, but I couldn't. I left first before you could break me. Her fingertips brushed his chest. I'm here now. Ready to give you everything I couldn't before. Nicholas didn't step back. Didn't push her away. His gaze was unreadable, until a noise echoed down the hall. Me. Fresh out of the shower, hair damp and curls falling around my shoulders, wearing a simple top and skirt, I had no idea I was walking into this storm. Victoria's eyes snapped to me, sharp and unyielding. And who is this? Her voice was sugar-laced venom. I opened my mouth, but Nicholas's hand shot out, gripping Victoria's wrist, not harshly but firmly. Victoria, what are you doing here? He asked, voice steel. He guided her toward another room, the door closing behind them with a solid thud. The maids whispered among themselves. Miss Victoria is back. He'll finally be happy again. She was the only one he ever wanted. I felt a flush rise in my chest. Jealousy, anger, humiliation. Emotions I neither liked nor expected. I turned, walking past the gossiping maids, chin high, heart thundering. Alone in my room, I slammed the door harder than I intended. For the first time since my forced wedding, a terrifying thought settled in. Had I just met the woman I could never compete with? The woman Nicholas might choose. Again. And for the first time, fear mixed with something darker. A desperate, burning determination. I wouldn't be invisible. I wouldn't disappear. Not if I had any say in it. The campus buzzed around me, students laughing, rushing, complaining, but I felt detached, like I was floating outside my own body. My bag hung on one shoulder, every step heavy, every thought heavier than my textbooks. My phone rang. Mom. I answered quickly, forcing a normal tone. His mom. I'm fine. I promise. They checked in every day, blissfully unaware I was living in a penthouse with a man I barely knew, and an ex-girlfriend who looked like a goddess carved from glass. After a few minutes of small talk, I ended the call and stared at the campus fountain, confused by my own racing heartbeat. Why did it bother me so much? Victoria living in my home. Victoria laughing softly in the hallways. Victoria sitting close to Nicholas at breakfast. I rubbed my chest, frustrated with myself. I didn't want this marriage. I didn't want him. I didn't want any of this. So why did my stomach twist every time I remembered the way she looked at him? I inhaled sharply and forced my thoughts away. I need a distraction. I need to focus. I threw myself into classes, answered questions aggressively, took notes I didn't need, pretending everything was fine. Nothing worked. After class, I went straight to my part-time job. Arriving early, staying late, washing dishes, translating documents, I tried to drown my thoughts in exhaustion. I refused to go home early. I refused to walk into that penthouse, where Victoria's perfume lingered in the hallways and the staff whispered about the perfect couple reunited. By the time I finally headed home, the sun had set. The penthouse lights glowed like a trap. I stepped inside quietly, hoping to go unnoticed. But when I pushed open my bedroom door, I froze. Nicholas was there. Shirtless. Back slightly turned. Muscles sharp under the soft light. Veins visible. Tension carved into every inch of him. He looked up the moment he sensed me. Zoe. I swallowed hard. I don't feel like seeing you, I said flatly. And I definitely don't feel like talking. His brows drew together. What's this attitude? His voice was low. What's going on with you? I didn't answer. I didn't look at him. I walked past, scent brushing his skin, and slipped into the bathroom. He stood there as the door slid halfway shut, leaving just enough of my silhouette visible. I moved, brushing my hair back, adjusting my clothes, completely unaware of how the outline of my body under the warm light made him pause. He exhaled sharply, curling his fingers into fists, then left the room. No words. No explanation. Just leaving like the storm he was, barely containing himself. I pressed my hands to my forehead under the running water, furious, confused, breathless. Because I could still feel the weight of his gaze. And I hated how much it affected me. That night, the balcony caught my attention. Victoria stood dangerously close to Nicholas. Back against the railing. His hand near her shoulder. Too close. I heard your first girlfriend, Monica, sent Zoe a warning. Told her to stay away from you, Victoria said, voice smug. Nicholas froze. The letter. Could that explain why I'd been avoiding him? Before he could answer, I stepped onto the balcony. I saw them. His hand on her waist. The closeness. The intimacy. Punched me in the chest. I stepped back, heart pounding, eyes wide. Hurt, confused, embarrassed. I turned and left. Fast. Not breathing. I couldn't stay in the penthouse that night. Not with the image of them burned into my head. I dressed simply, jeans, a crop top, lip gloss, and went to a club for the first time in my life. The music thumped. The lights flashed. And my heart ached. I drank. Shot after shot. Anything to dull the jealousy. A handsome guy approached me. Muscular. Smiling. Want to dance? He asked. I nodded, letting myself move recklessly, trying to forget the image of Nicholas and Victoria. Then, a hand landed on the man's shoulder. This is my wife. Nicholas. I pulled away instantly. I'm not your wife. I snapped, staggering but standing firm. His jaw twitched. He reached for my arm. I yanked it away. Leave me alone. Go meet Victoria, since you're so obsessed with her. The crowd turned to look. I'm just a contract wife, right? You made that very clear. Nicholas inhaled sharply. His eyes softened, but I was too drunk to notice. Before I could react, he lifted me, literally lifted me off the floor and carried me out of the club. I punched his shoulder, kicking and yelling, but he didn't falter. And I realized he was unstoppable. He booked a hotel room instead of taking me home, probably afraid I'd collapse in the car. I stumbled inside, panic and alcohol mingling, and shoved him. Get out. Taemin closed the door slowly. No. I glared, voice trembling. Why have you been avoiding me? My breath hitched and I finally said it, the thing that had been eating at me for days. I don't want to see someone who left me half naked on the bed, and someone who's obsessed with his ex-wife. Silence. Then, a low, deep, disbelieving laugh. I froze. Nothing is funny, I snapped. He stepped closer, hands sliding under my chin, lifting my face to his. Voice dropping, raw, honest, almost broken. I left you because I think I don't deserve you. Your body. Your innocence. Your virginity. My heart slammed against my ribs. I've never cared if I hurt anyone before, he admitted, thumb brushing my jaw. But you make me careful. And then he confessed, eyes locked on mine. Taryn and I, we were close on purpose. I wanted to make you jealous. He tapped my chest lightly. And it worked. My anger softened. My breathing steadied, but something warmer, something dangerous, tingled in my chest. I looked up at him, swaying slightly from the alcohol, eyes glossy, honest. You think I'm jealous? I whispered. He smirked. I know you are. I shook my head slowly. No, I always thought I didn't deserve you, Taemin. He stared. I thought you were too good for me. Too rich. Too experienced. Too perfect. I stepped closer, fingertips brushing his chest. A beat of silence. Then soft, drunk, brave. Taemin, you have beautiful eyes. His throat tightened. Amina. But I wasn't finished. I feel like kissing you. Doing things I've never done with any man before. His breath hitched. Go for it, he whispered. I moved first. Climbed onto his lap, thighs on either side. He held my hips instinctively, gently, as if I might break. I leaned in, a sweet, slow, trembling kiss. His chest rose sharply. We kissed again. Deeper. Hands sliding to his neck. Then down to his shirt. Lips brushing jaw, throat, collarbone. Something in him snapped. Our kiss grew intense, messy, urgent. I unbuttoned his suit jacket slowly, then his shirt, memorizing every inch. He whispered against my lips. Tell me if I hurt you. You won't, I breathed. We moved together, slow, patient, careful, learning each other, exploring a connection that was fierce yet tender. By dawn, exhaustion and satisfaction had woven us together in ways neither of us had anticipated. Sunlight spilled across the room. I woke first, wrapped in his arms, cheek on his chest. He opened one eye lazily, smirk tugging at his lips. Still think you don't deserve me? I hid my face, giggling softly. You're too much, I whispered. But I felt capable of holding him. He reached for his phone and froze. 30 missed calls. Flooded notifications. Messages from his board PR team security. And a video, me in the club. Drunk. Shouting. I'm just a contract wife. Leaked. Trending. Rumors exploded across New York. CEO Nicole Moretti's fake marriage exposed. Mafia heir's wife claims she isn't his real wife. Who is the woman living in the mansion? He dropped the phone on the bed, jaw tightening. I sat up, panic rising. Nicole. He exhaled, eyes cold, tired. And 1 week. And this rumor has already started affecting business collaborations. I realized suddenly, fully. Our perfect night had consequences. Real ones. I stood by the edge of my bed, my hands trembling as I stared at my phone. Every notification ping made my chest tighten. Every message felt like another weight pressing down. I hadn't been myself in the last 2 weeks. My eyes were swollen. My throat ached. I'm sorry, Nicole, I whispered, my voice cracking before I even had the courage to say it aloud. She sat up immediately, eyes searching mine. Zoe. I shook my head, fighting to keep my voice steady. If I stay, I'll ruin your businesses more. My chest burned with guilt as I forced the words out. I spoke carelessly in that club. I shouldn't have said I was a fake wife. I shouldn't have been there at all. Tears threatened, but I blinked them back. And now everyone is attacking me online. Every comment. Every video. Every picture. I could feel my throat tighten. I don't think I can go on with this marriage. Silence. Brutal, suffocating silence. I can't keep taking the bullying, I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. I can't walk outside without cameras chasing me. I can't breathe without someone twisting it. I'm not used to this life, Nicole. I just wanted to finish school, take care of my parents. I wiped my face roughly with the back of my hand. Give me 1 year. She frowned, confusion flickering across her face. 1 year for what? I took a shaky breath. To pay my father's debt. I'll handle it myself. I don't want to be a burden to you anymore. Her face softened for the briefest second, and then something broke inside me as I watched her jaw tighten. If you walk out now, you're letting strangers control you, she said, her voice low, almost pleading. I looked away, swallowing hard. Her words stung. Truth hurt in ways nothing else did. You're letting their opinions decide your life. Your marriage. He stepped closer, eyes boring into mine. Zoe, don't go. My heart clenched painfully. I wanted to turn, to collapse into her arms, but fear held me back. I'm willing to lose those deals because of you, he continued, and suddenly the weight of everything, my love, her stubbornness, hit me like a tidal wave. His next words cut through me. Money comes back. Contracts come back. Reputation comes back. But I won't get another you. I inhaled sharply, my chest aching. Nicole, I just want a normal life again, I confessed. Tears slipped down my cheeks, the dam finally breaking. I want to go to school without being photographed. I want to buy groceries without someone yelling my name. I want to breathe without becoming a headline. My voice cracked as I admitted the truth that had been suffocating me. I want you, but I don't know how to live in your world. The raw honesty of my words seemed to silence everything. I stepped back, wiping my tears as my fingers found the doorknob. I need space, I whispered. Her voice, low and raw, stopped me. Zoe. I froze, but I didn't turn. I gripped the doorknob tighter, my body trembling. Come back here. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But my fear was louder than my desire. I opened the door and walked out, tears blinding me. The click of the door shutting behind me sounded like the finality of my own mistakes. For a month I stayed away. A month without her voice. A month without her presence. And every single day I hated myself for it. Thought I was strong. I thought I could walk away. But every time I closed my eyes it was Nicole, her smile, her touch, her rare, devastating calm, that haunted me. And now as I collapsed onto my bed, exhausted from school, work, and the crushing loneliness, the TV flashed with her face. Though, smiling in a black suit, shaking hands with world leaders. The cameras loved her. The world praised her. And my chest twisted with longing and regret. Why am I even expecting her to call? I left first, even when she begged me not to. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. But I recognized it instantly. Her company line. My heart hammered. I answered with trembling hands. A cold, official male voice spoke. Mrs. Nicole, report to the penthouse immediately. The chairman is waiting. No explanation. No context. I didn't hesitate. I ran. I burst into the penthouse, my chest pounding so hard it felt like it might rip out of my ribs. Hope swelled in me, reckless and foolish. I wanted him to pull me into his arms, to whisper, I missed you. I wanted warmth. But he wasn't waiting for me like I imagined. He was standing by the window, hands in his pockets, shoulders impossibly straight, like he was carved from ice and control. When he turned toward me, his eyes, they were cold. Dead cold. His single word cut through me harder than any blow. My throat constricted. My legs felt like lead, but I obeyed, terrified and trembling. A stack of papers slid across the table. Divorce papers. Sign it. I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened and my hands felt numb. How could he even ask this after last night? After the hotel, after every whisper of I won't let you go? I swallowed hard, blinking back tears. Did you lose feelings for me already? My voice was small, fragile. He didn't answer. And the silence? It was unbearable. It felt like the air itself had turned against me. I reached for the pen. My pride screamed, sign it. Move on. Pay your father's debt. Walk away. But the moment my fingers hovered over the paper, a strangled sob tore out of me. Then another. Then I broke completely. I can't, I choked. I can't sign it. Tears poured freely. I pressed my hands against my face, wishing I could erase the moment, erase the fear, erase the distance in his eyes. I hate you, I whispered, voice breaking. I hate the way you're treating me like I don't matter. I hate the coldness in your eyes. And I hate myself for still caring. He stepped closer and my whole body stiffened. Before I could even process, he gripped my wrist, firm and unrelenting. Zoe, you made your choice when you walked away. Now I'm making mine. My stomach dropped. Panic surged through me. I clutched his shirt, desperate. No, please. I can't let you decide this. I can't lose you. I won't sign it, I whispered again, my voice breaking. I'm sorry I ran. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough. I'm sorry I messed everything up. Do you still love me? My voice was trembling on the edge of hope. Yes, he said, jaw tight, voice steady but heavy. Relief and fear collided inside me, leaving me breathless. But love isn't enough, he said, low and dangerous. If you run every time it gets hard. Tears blurred my vision. I pressed my hands to his face, shaking. I won't run again. Not from you. Not from this. Not from anything. I swear, with all my love. I leaned forward, pressing soft, desperate kisses to his forehead, cheeks, and the corner of his mouth. Each kiss was a plea, a promise. Finally, his hands were behind my neck, firm and possessive. In one smooth motion he lifted me off the floor. My arms wrapped instinctively around his shoulders, my gasp echoing in the quiet room. His forehead pressed to mine. His voice was low, dangerous, yet soft. I missed you. I laughed through my tears, holding him closer, letting myself melt into him. He carried me to the bed like I weighed nothing, tracing his lips along my neck, my collarbone. Do you know what I want now? His breath brushed my ear. I shook my head, shy and nervous. Triplets. My breath hitched. Triplets. He smirked, knowing, deep and infuriatingly confident. Triplets that look exactly like you. I laughed softly, tugging him closer. Then don't waste time, a husband. He growled low in my ear, deep and possessive. His kiss was hungry, relieved. This time I didn't run. I didn't hold back. I surrendered fully. Where fear once lived, love bloomed. Where doubt had grown, certainty took its place. Wrapped in his arms, I whispered, voice trembling but sure, I'm not leaving again. And he answered against my lips, possessive and warm. Good. Because I'm never letting you go. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful story, besties.